All right, welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We've got a pretty fascinating one today. Thought we could dig into Psalm 76.
Oh, yeah, this one's pretty powerful.
It is, and it's pretty short too, but, working from the New Living Translation on YouVersion, seems like there's a lot packed in here.
Definitely. Lots to unpack.
Yeah, so I guess our mission today is going to be to kind of like pull out the big ideas, the core wisdom that this psalm is trying to get across to us, what's it really saying?
Absolutely. See if we can make sense of it all.
Exactly. So right off the bat, it starts by really zeroing in on some specific places, Judah and Jerusalem, even pinpoints Mount Zion, which is also called Salem. It's like, why is it so important to start there?
Well, I think it's interesting because you have to remember for the original audience, this wasn't some kind of abstract concept. These were real places.
Yeah.
These were places with history and meaning. So, like, grounding it right there, right from the start, it connects God's presence with these really tangible, historically significant locations.
Okay, yeah. It's like anchoring it in their world.
Exactly.
Yeah, so then the tone kind of shifts pretty dramatically. It's all this powerful imagery about God breaking the enemy's weapons. Fiery arrows are snapped. Shields and swords are useless. It's like, whoa, okay, total victory here. What's the message, the takeaway?
I think if you connect those dots, what it's really saying is that ultimately power belongs to the divine. Right? Like, it's not just about a military defeat. It's about the fact that opposing this force, this divine power, is just pointless.
Okay, so, it goes on then to describe God as glorious and more majestic than the everlasting mountains, which, that's some serious imagery there.
Yeah.
And then there's this sense of awe, right? Like, no wonder you are greatly feared. Who can stand before you when your anger explodes? It's pretty intense. So what kind of fear are we even talking about here?
I don't think it's necessarily about, being terrified or cowering or anything like that. It's more about a deep respect for this power, this immense power and holiness. It's like recognizing something so much bigger than us.
Okay, so like awe and respect, not just terror.
Yeah, I think so. And this image, this image of divine grandeur, it also suggests, like order and stability rooted in that power. You see this idea a lot in different cultures, this connection between power and order.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So then verses 8 and 9, it shows God's judgment coming down from heaven. And that judgment actually rescues the oppressed while the earth itself is like trembling and silent. It's like God's stepping in to set things right. So what's the crucial element here?
Yeah, I think the key here is that it's a dual action, right? You've got this judgment against, wrongdoing, but it's coupled with this active protection of those who are vulnerable. It's not just this abstract justice, it's God taking a side.
Stepping in and doing something about it.
Exactly.
Okay, now, this next verse, this is where things get a little tricky for me. It says, human defiance only enhances your glory, for you use it as a weapon. I know the Hebrew here is a little uncertain, but how do we even start to wrap our heads around that idea?
It's a challenging one, right? But I think the interpretation here is about God's ultimate sovereignty. Even in the face of opposition, God's purpose is never thwarted. And somehow, even that human resistance, it actually ends up highlighting God's power and glory.
So it's like, even when we push back, it still plays into a bigger plan.
Yeah, it's kind of a mind-bending concept, but I think that's the core idea there.
Yeah, it is a tough one to think about. So as we wrap up here, the psalm ends with this call to make and keep vows to God, to bring tribute to this awesome one. And it ends with this powerful line, he breaks the pride of princes and the kings of the earth fear him. It's like a full circle moment, bringing us back to that initial sense of reverence.
Absolutely. It's like the call to commitment. Is the natural human response to this overwhelming power that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And the ending, that final note about humbling the powerful, it really underscores how limited earthly authority is when compared to the divine.
Okay, so let's kind of bring it all together. In this deep dive into Psalm 76, we've encountered these themes of divine power, right? Grounded in specific places, a God who triumphs over opposition, inspires awe, acts as both judge and rescuer, and whose glory somehow even shines through human defiance. It's a lot.
It is.
And it seems like the appropriate response, the human response, is one of reverence and commitment.
Yeah, I think so. And I think for you, the listener, the question to sit with is this. What does it mean to you that there might be a force out there, a force that can break the pride of even the most powerful figures in the world. Because these ancient words, they're still grappling with these fundamental questions about power, about authority, and about how we as humans respond to forces that are just bigger than us.
Yeah, it's a lot to chew on.
Definitely.
All right, everyone. Well, that is going to do it for this deep dive. We really appreciate you joining us. We will catch you next time.
You then.